Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I picked up in the month of April. Not the biggest stack for me, but I am saving up for HorrorCon, which is next month, so I'll be bringing you a stack of crazy, weird, awesome pickups that I get from HorrorCon, so definitely stay tuned next month to see what I get from there. I'm still ill, unfortunately, but the videos must continue, so let's get into it. Okay, so first up, guys, is a real extreme horror film of the gross out kind. So if you're easily offended or if you're eating, you might want to skip this one or come back to the video a bit later. But from the aptly titled Vile Video Productions, we have Barf Bunny, which is one of these kind of vomit gore style films that just features lots of gruesome gore and lots of people vomiting about the place. Yeah, I don't get it either. But this one, we see this woman, she proceeds to just gorge herself on fruit and berries until she throws up, and kind of does that about 2 or 3 times for about 40 minutes. And then in the last 5 minutes, we see a guy dressed in a bunny suit who comes up behind her and gruesomely decapitates her. And that is the sweeping epic that is Barf Bunny. So yeah, I'm sure I don't need to say this is a very disgusting watch, pretty tough to get through. I was nearly a Barf Bunny myself a couple of times watching this. But yeah, this is a strange subgenre of horror that I don't quite get myself. It's a bit of a peer into a dark world that yeah, doesn't do much for me. I have seen worse, actually. One saving grace was she didn't actually do anything with the vomit, because I have seen a couple. Well, it doesn't matter, but yeah, it's a pretty strong watch. In terms of why you'd even buy this, for me, it's just collectability. These are very kind of underground movies that you don't come across, so if I see them, the collector in me is kind of saying, get that for the shelf. But yeah, Barf Bunny, very tough watch. I don't know who I would ever recommend this one to. Next up, I picked up Black Friday, which was okay. This one takes place in a department store on Black Friday, so they just get inundated with customers. But something happens and the customers all get turned into these like flesh-eating monsters and attack the store and attack the employees, and they have to like hold up and fight them off. It's okay, it's a fun movie. It never did anything all that great, but it did have some okay moments in it. It's got some good practical effects, and the monsters in it do look pretty good. And you've got Devon Sawa in this, always great to see him. Bruce Campbell's in it as well, but it's not a Bruce Campbell movie. He's very much kind of just a secondary character in it, but always great to see him in a film. So yeah, I don't know, something about it didn't make me think it was excellent, but it was certainly a fun movie, and I did enjoy watching it. Next up, from Second Sight, I picked up the Borderlands, which is one that I'm really looking forward to watching. I think my dad saw this quite a long time ago and gave it a strong recommendation, saying it was really good and very creepy. I think it's like a found footage movie where they're, I don't know, investigating or looking through this church or something, some like Vatican investigation. I'm not sure, but I'm really looking forward to checking it out. And very nice release from Second Sight. It's one of these big, thick, limited edition packs. So yeah, nice to see the Borderlands get a release. And like I say, I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. Next up, from Shudder, I picked up The Boys from County Hell. This one was pretty good. This is an Irish film about these people in this quiet little town that unearth this kind of vampire legend, and so start getting killed off by this like vampire creature. So yeah, it was pretty good. The creature in it looks okay. It's kind of got a bit of like comedy horror going on, and the opening scene to this was actually pretty horrifying, with these old folks kind of bleeding from their eyes and mouth and nose. It's a really strong opening. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid film. Got some good vampire moments in it. So yeah, not a bad one if you want to check out something a bit different, something as I say from Ireland. So yeah, not a bad film. Next up, since it got a 4K release from Scream Factory, I thought I'd check out the remake of Carrie. Never seen it up until now. I thought it was okay. It was an alright film. It just felt like it was the Hollywood remake that it was, rather than the stylish Brian De Palma original with kind of tinges of bittersweet elements and kind of tragic horror. Chloe Grace Moretz, she was good in the role, but she is kind of like a pretty Hollywood actress. She didn't have the vulnerability that Sissy Spacek had in the original. But it was okay. The prom scene was pretty good. I'll give it that. They kind of ramped it up a bit. At times it felt almost a bit like a superhero showing off their powers in a Marvel film. But I did enjoy the prom scene. It was pretty effective. So, yeah, not a bad film. Like I say, it's just the Hollywood remake that it is. The main thing I got from this was a hankering to watch the 1976 original. But yeah, it was alright. Next up from Terra Vision, I picked up Dante's Inferno from 1911, which makes this the oldest feature film in my collection. I have something from 1910, but it's a short Frankenstein adaptation. This is a full-length movie, from 1911, so unbelievably old. I haven't watched it yet. I do kind of need to be in the mood to watch such an old piece of cinema, admittedly, but very interesting movie. I'm definitely going to check it out at some point and see what it's like. So if you've seen Dante's Inferno, let me know. But yeah, 1911, that is just incredible. And for it to get a Blu-ray release is fantastic. Next up from Terra Vision, I picked up Dead Air, which was a pretty good zombie movie. It's Bill Moseley, and he's this radio host. He's in the building doing his show, and while he's doing it, a zombie outbreak breaks out in the city. So he's kind of like getting reports on his show. At first he thinks it's like a hoax and like joke calls. But yeah, no, they soon start to come under siege from zombies, and Bill Moseley and his team have to kind of fight them off. So yeah, not too bad, nothing spectacular. I'd never heard about this until Terra Vision brought it out. But yeah, if you want to see an okay zombie film, Bill Moseley is always great in whatever he does. So yeah, it was pretty good to come across this and check it out. Next up, I picked up The Devil's Machine. I saw this reviewed by Jason at Horrific Nightmares, and it sounded cool, has a cool looking cover, so I thought I'd grab it. Not watched it yet, but yeah, I'll get around to checking this one out soon. Next up, this was actually given to me by a friend of mine, so thank you very much to him. This is GYO Tokyo Fish Attack. No idea what to expect from this one. It looks a bit crazy. I think this is like an anime, a killer shark themed anime. So yeah, I will check this one out soon. It looks kind of bonkers. So yeah, hopefully I'll have a lot of fun with this one. Next up, I picked up the new Hellraiser movie. Now, I have reviewed this one on my channel in the previous video, so if you want to hear more on what I thought about this movie, feel free to check that out. I enjoyed it though. This one surprised me, and yeah, I did take a lot of positives from it, and it was nice for a Hellraiser sequel to finally feel like it was a Hellraiser movie, because a lot of the other ones don't. But yeah, the new Hellraiser film definitely wasn't the disaster that I was expecting. Next up from Terra Vision, I picked up The Jar, and wow, this one was a bizarre film. It's a very low budget, kind of amateurish movie about this guy who hits this like homeless guy who's carrying this jar with a creature in it. He takes the homeless guy back to his house to sort of try and mend him a bit. But the next morning, the homeless guy's gone, and the guy's left in his apartment with this weird jar thing. And he really just kind of from there descends into madness. It's a very sort of nightmarish, sort of dream-fueled movie quite David Lynch in places, and a bit of Cronenberg as well. Um, it had elements that were pretty interesting and were kind of cool. Let down a bit by the acting, because this is a movie mainly featuring one guy, and his acting really isn't that good. I think he'd only done a little bit of stage work at the time, so his delivery was a little bit kind of not congruent with a cinematic movie, and it does show when you watch the film. So yeah, really not sure what I ultimately think about The Jar. It was a strange experience, but kind of a unique one, and one that sort of stayed with me for a little bit. So yeah, um, it was okay, but very weird movie. And another thing, I was hoping that this would be more of a creature feature film rather than this weird kind of study of someone going crazy. So yeah, it would have been cooler if it had more of a monster in it. Next up from Terra Vision, I picked up the 4K of Malum. And good to get this one. The cover of this has always kind of intrigued me. It looks pretty scary. And this one takes place in an old, I think soon to be shut down police station. This young woman is assigned there, and previously her father worked there and was working on a case involving like a satanic cult, but he just mysteriously went crazy and killed a bunch of cops. So she's now working there, and she's got a bit of a stigma about her. A lot of the other people don't treat her very well because of what her father did. And weird things start to happen at the police station. She starts to get some weird phone calls, and some kind of strange visions and things start to happen. It's a very slow burn movie, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite effective. This is actually like a remake of the 2014 film The Last Shift. So if you've seen that, it's a very similar kind of film, very similar feel to it. But yeah, Malum, as I say, pretty slow, but it's got its creepy moments, and it's got a cool looking kind of monster thing at the end of the movie, which is worth checking out. So yeah, not too bad. Next up, I picked up the Meg 2. Still need to watch this, really want to watch it. I think I'll dig it despite the bad reviews that it gets. So yeah, I will be watching the Meg 2 very soon. Okay, next up from Massacre Video, some extreme horror here with Rosco the Embalmer. Now, I've not watched this yet, but from what I understand, this is like a documentary, shockumentary about a guy who works as an embalmer, and we follow him and his work from tending to the bodies of everyone, from like old people that have died in their sleep to like mangled bodies from car accidents and things like that. I think it's quite a candid, gruesome look at that profession. So yeah, I will put this on at some point and see what it's like. It sounds interesting. Probably going to be a bit not for the squeamish, but yeah, good to finally pick this one up. And yeah, I will be checking this one out at some point. And also from Massacre Video, a nasty little film here called Snuff 102. Very surprised to see this one get a fancy Blu-ray release, but that's cool. But this one is about a woman reporter who starts to look into the world of like snuff movies and shockumentary footage and things like that. And she starts to do that, but then gets kidnapped by this killer and sort of tortured, and all these gruesome things happen to her as part of the snuff film that this killer is making. This one it's not great. I do struggle with this one. It doesn't look very good. It's filmed in a horrible way. The lighting is off, and almost a bit like August Underground style. It just doesn't look very good at all. And on the whole, it's kind of boring, I have to be honest. The shocking elements in this film do come from scenes where she actually she's looking on the internet of this sort of snuff footage and stuff like that, and she actually does watch some real life scenes, which are pretty strong. I recognise a few of them from some of the death mixtapes that are out there. So yeah, do be prepared It does feature some kind of quick shots of real life death and animal cruelty. So yeah, but this one, it's just not enjoyable at all because I wasn't in the mood to kind of watch that kind of stuff anyway. And the movie just looks so awful. It's a real chore to get through. So yeah, not one that I would recommend in terms of extreme horror or anything like that, unfortunately. Okay, next up, some 1950s goodness with Target Earth. Not seen this one before. This was reviewed recently on the Atomic Snack Bar, and it looked really cool. So I thought I'd try and pick up a copy. So yeah, I'll check this one out soon. I do love my 1950s sort of sci-fi horror kind of stuff. So I'm sure I'll enjoy this one. So yeah, Target Earth looks pretty cool. And last up, I picked up the original War of the Worlds on 4K. Really need to watch this. I'm very excited to check this out. I've had a lot of people tell me how excellent this movie is and how great it looks on 4K. So yeah, I really need to get around to watching the original War of the Worlds. I will do so very soon. So that's everything that I got in April, guys. As always, let me know what you think of any of these movies, any that you like, any that you didn't like. And like I say, next month we have HorrorCon, so stay tuned for those pickups. They're going to be pretty awesome. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.